Susanoo admitted he was wrong.
Yeah.
But the husband didn't admit he was wrong.
Good point.
Happy wife, happy life.
What's up?
And welcome to our coffee shop. I'm your host, Long, and welcome to another episode of the KopiBros Show presented by the Chit Podcast Network. Now, for those of you that are tuning in via YouTube or any sort of podcasting platform, hi again. Thanks so much for giving us a try, for giving us a listen. We're just a Singaporean duo that are going to learn more about Japanese mythology. Unagi-san. Okay. And speaking of people that love mythology, once again, I'm joined by my huge mythological fanatic, Jing Yong. Jing, how are you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing great.
Doing great, huh? Are you excited that you get to talk more about a different kind of mythology this time?
Of course.
Ooh,
Yeah,
exciting.
because me and you, at first we scheduled to do Norse mythology, but because of things, we pushed that to next month. So I volunteered to do Japanese mythology.
Yeah, which is a bit different because, to be honest and frank, right, if you were to touch on the topic of Japanese mythology, I would probably say I have zero knowledge about this thing. And I think the assumption around, like, I would say the consensus in Singapore is that not a lot of people know anything about Japanese mythology. You know what I mean?
So I think the only thing that people will know about is like in Brandon's case and in some of the people's case, like my case or my brother's case, we read a lot of Japanese mangas. Then, like for example, the Demon Slayer, then the recently very famous one, Jujutsu Kaisen. So a lot of the like creatures or the what they call yokai inside or the people inside, right? They are actually based on Japanese mythologies, man. Yeah, the Nine-Tailed Fox, this kind of thing. Then like so actually see it as like a positive push for Japanese mythology, because like when I slowly read out about it, then I realized that this is how they draw reference in between like this creature and like for example like for example some of the Naruto stuff when they talk about like this ultimate move being what Susanoo, then you see how it works. Then you sort of draw comparison to like how Susanoo is in the mythology. Then you think that it sort of makes sense.
Okay, now you touched a bit on it. Like we're going to be talking about Japanese mythology, and it's the reason why we're doing that is because we're doing a continuation of our mythology series. Previously, we did an episode about Greek mythology, which is, I mean, like you said it in the previous episode, is a different kind of mythology, and it's not your personal favorite, lah.
Yeah, no.
Yeah. And after the episode, also when I went to go and like research it, I went to go and listen to those like 2-hour long episodes on YouTube about like break down the whole series of mythology, right?
Yeah,
like it's quite absurd, lah.
Yeah.
One thing that I did like about this sort of like Greek mythology series, right, is that I learned more about the origins, lah, which I think. Yeah, which I think we're going to be touching on similar here, right? Like Japanese mythology, the origins and stuff like that. Okay, interesting. Can I ask, right, what are some of the more common themes and like common, like, you know what I mean? Like, because Greek mythology is like, it's really gods and stuff like that. Like the gods and then the humans and stuff like that. But I think from from my perspective, like what is the main themes or like what are the main characters inside the story and stuff like that, lah? Okay,
so for Japanese mythology, I think it's more unique in the sense that there is a story about gods. Of course, then there's like all the, I'll touch on later, Izanagi, Izanami. Then you have the three important gods, Amaterasu, Tsukiyomi, and Susanoo. And then what I won't touch on today, the great grandson of Amaterasu, which is the first emperor of Japan. So they actually have a succession story in terms of like certain time when, let's say, humanity is in turmoil, then the more Amaterasu sent her own grandson down to so-called to quell all this unrest, and then how her own grandson's grandson became the emperor of Japan. Yeah, led by a crow, this kind of thing. Yeah, so I think it's one of the very few mythologies that I actually see a real succession story in the sense of from God and then how it's so-called lead to
how it links to like modern day, like
correct.
It is quite cool, eh? So you're trying to say, like the first emperor has a family lineage that links to the gods, lah.
Yes, Correct.
Oh, wow. That's super
not
interesting.
Like, how to say, it's not like Chinese when they say emperor is just, this one chosen by God one, but you don't see actually lineage there. So the first emperor of Japan, I'm not going to touch on that this time round, but there were a lot of mythical so-called conditions behind how he came to conquer Japan, including which direction he had to attack for. There was a crow leading him, and this crow was some envoy from the gods or whoever. So there were a lot of conditions behind pushing him to become the first emperor. So that is the first part about the gods, and then there's the people. And then what I find most interesting, not most interesting, what I find interesting also is the story about yokais. So they are yokai, right? That means they are like you can call them demons, you can call them whoever. Some of them are actually very cute. Like there is one called I don't know what animal is that called. It's something like a raccoon. So the raccoon is like a playful one that can turn into different forms of people and then trick people. So this kind is one of the more harmless ones. And then there are ones like what I'll share later, the nine-tailed fox called Kitsune. And then how she went around destroying people, and then they had to seal her into a rock, this kind of thing.
Can I ask also, like, before we before we dive to this episode, right? You've said before that this is your favorite mythology, correct?
Yes.
Why is that the case?
So I think
why does it infect you? Yeah.
2 reasons why it's my favorite mythology lah. Later I will share in my second story that this is one of the rare cases where I see an actual redemption, in the sense that the one that caused the issue, right, actually went and apologized to his sister and say that this is sorry. So it had a very so-called Chinese called 圆满的结局, means it has a very happy ending, a very full ending. So I think so I think for a god to admit that he was wrong, I think this was something that I liked. And then also another thing that I touched a bit on was that I see a lot of these references in current literature, no matter whether it's manga or whether it's in the form of, like, you go Japan, there's a lot of temples that pay tribute to some of the yokais, or like they are there to so-called, later I'll touch a bit on, like, some temples they are built, right, just to so-called keep a guard on these stones that's supposed to hold part of the spirit of the kitsune.
Okay.
So, like, I find it interesting that you can still see parts and bits and parts of the mythologies that are still present in current Japan in the forms of temples and the forms of how people carry out some of their traditions.
Okay, and then I'm assuming also that they still honor them.
Of course.
It's quite different than, in comparison to, like, Greek mythology, which has died off, or like Norse mythology, which has
so died. If you go to Greece, right, a lot of their, like, these kind of relics are all gone already. Like, they never upkeep it one. But I think in Japan, right, a lot of these temples are still very well kept. And I believe, I never went to, I only went to Okinawa before, but I never went to any of the temples. So I'm going in January. I'm quite interested to see, how well kept the temples are, whether they are actual people that preserve the history, how they preserve, how they pass it on, these kind of things.
Interesting. I'm going in March, so you go and see first, then you let me know.
You're going for the sakura flowers,
I guess. More for food, but I guess I'm also going for the sakura flowers. Okay. Interesting. Okay, this is going to be a fun episode. Let's dive into the world of Japanese mythology. Alright, okay. Essentially, for this episode, Jin Yong, you're going to be telling us 3 different stories about Japanese mythology. I think they all vary in different styles and maybe different themes and stuff like that. But okay, the time is yours. Take us away. Let us learn more about Japanese mythology.
Okay, so I'm the first 2 stories that I'm talking about is sort of connected.
Oh, okay.
They are stories about gods. So the first 2 gods are the more, I would call them primordial gods, because they were the first to descend onto earth and create the first humans lah. If there's, according to different versions one version said that they created the first humans. And then the second story is a continuation of that. It's about their children and about the 3 main gods that so-called created a lot of trouble, and then how they came to terms with each other. And then the last story is a more interesting take on the 9-tailed fox, which is what you see in Naruto, the creature stuck inside Naruto's body lah. So that one is more interesting because the nine-tailed fox has appeared in both Chinese mythologies and Japanese
Yes, I was going to say,
mythology.
yeah. It's a familiar character in Chinese mythology. Correct.
So the version that I'll be talking about was the one that has been told by a certain YouTuber in Chinese called 自说自得的总裁.
Okay.
Yeah, so I find his version the most interesting because he took a bit from Chinese, he took a bit from Japanese, then he so-called come out with a most complete timeline in terms of the nine-tailed fox. You know, where she came from, how did she go from China to Japan. Yeah, I think that was
as in he didn't create a story. He took the timelines from different, and then they show how it connects. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. Right. So I shall start first with the story of Izanagi and Izanami, or if you believe in certain interpretations, they were the first so-called open and close inverted commas Adam and Eve in the Japanese mythology lah.
Okay.
Yeah. So as with the Greek mythology, the earth was nothing, then there was chaos, then just boom, come out, got a lot of generations of gods lah. Okay. So Izanagi and Izanami were the seventh and the last generation of gods to be created. Then they just decided that, it's our calling to so-called descend onto earth and create this place called earth.
Okay, so on top of this, there's another world that created these gods?
Yes. Okay. So I don't know how they came about. I just say got another 6th generation of gods.
Okay.
Yeah. So I
guess it's not as relevant because they didn't impact Earth. So there's only these few there.
Yeah, correct. So these 7 descended onto this island called
Tokyo.
Onogoro. It's not called Tokyo. It is still it's still a place in Japan.
Okay.
Called Nushima. But I don't think anybody goes visit because it's not very popular. Yeah.
Okay, interesting. Yeah.
It's
funny, even though this is the origins, people don't visit. You know what I mean? Like, as a tourist destination, I thought it'd be quite an easy thing to.
Yeah, I think maybe it's not like economic center.
Yeah. Or maybe there's like good
like in Greece, right? Greece, like Athens is more famous lah, but actually, like Crete as an island is where Zeus grew up, ma. So same thing also, like less people know about Crete, but they know about like Athens, they know about like other places you can go in Greece. Yeah, so if you're interested, you can go find where this Onogoro, is it Onogoro? Oh my god. Onogoro is, but I honestly don't know.
Onogoro, I honestly don't know.
Okay, not important anyway. It's not the main point of the story. Okay, so the main point of the story is that so they came down to this island. They started having children. Of course, not children in the sense that like human children are. They started creating things like like water. They started creating things like fire, this kind of thing. Yeah, so they were a very happy couple. They procreated. They had a lot of children. But when the wife Izanami gave birth to her 5th child, which was fire, she had a difficult pregnancy and died.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so this was very weird because I don't know why like give birth to fire like such a tough pregnancy thing you have to die lah. Yeah, so
I mean technically yeah.
Death by fire.
Yeah, I mean like it might burn up your intestines and your internal organs. So okay.
Yeah. So the husband being the hero he is, like wow, don't worry, I can go to hell and save my wife. So that's what he did. Oh. He went down to hell and then he so-called found his wife lah.
Okay.
So his wife was very shocked when she saw the husband in hell because she said that like this is the land of the dead, right? Not supposed to come here. Mm-hmm. And then number 2, she told him that actually she has eaten the food in hell already, so she cannot just like break the rules and so-called go back to earth again.
Oh, okay. Because once you consume it, then you
it means you're part of the hell lah. So unlike Greek mythology and unlike like Norse, right, when hell is a very important space in their mythologies, right, I think for the Japanese mythology that I read, this is the only time they mention hell lah. Yeah, as a so-called some place that people pass by. Yeah, and it's not like they're not like Greek mythology or Norse or like Mesopotamian mythology where they have a god that governs hell. So in Japan, yes, they do have a god that governs hell, but it's not part of the main story lah.
Maybe he's just like a gatekeeper, like he's really just like you come and you go out. Yeah.
So what happened was that the wife, of course, was very touched that the husband came and find her. But he told the husband, say, you have to give me time. Okay, you must promise that you won't look for me in hell. You have to allow me to go settle my own stuff. I'll come back and find you.
Okay.
Yeah, so then of course the wife went away lah. But the husband, wait until like very sian. So he just decided, okay, never mind, I will go find my wife myself. So he took out an ornament from his hair, right? And then turned into some light bulb. And then just went and looked, Okay. And then he found his own wife, right? Only to see that, wow, the wife like very disgusting and like half rotten, half what? Then, like everything disgusting you can imagine it is like all rotten, then like half bone, half flesh, this kind of thing. Don't even look human or any resemblance of like the person that he used to love.
He used to know, okay.
The next part that comes will come as a big surprise to you because I also don't understand this unless you can use woman logic to explain.
Okay, I'm ready for this.
So, yeah.
I'm trying to think it's a woman now.
Yeah. So what happened was that she was very agitated because it's like, oh, you saw me without makeup. Then she proceeded and like chase him, like want to eat him up and like chase him like just imagine that she caught him in bed with another person like that, like chase him,
Okay.
Then he was very shocked of course. Then he ran. He ran to the entrance of hell, and then he took a very big boulder. Then he used the boulder to so-called block the path of hell in between her and him.
Okay.
Yeah. So then the wife very angry lah. So she cursed him and say, I curse that for all the humans you create, right, I will destroy 1,000 humans every day. Then the husband say, don't worry, you kill 1,000, right, I will create 1,500 humans.
Okay.
So that was like the so-called story about like why hell used to be empty lah. Why today there is like people going up and down hell, this kind of thing, because there are people destroying, there are people creating. There's this circle lah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can I ask, like the boulder that he put, does that mean that once you go in you cannot come out? Is that the idea?
I think so. Yeah, they never really mentioned that, but I would like to think that it's so-called separate heaven and hell lah.
Okay. Maybe it's a symbolic thing. It's just like once you're in, maybe you can't come out or something like that.
Could be. It's interesting to note that in Japan, there are still certain temples that, they have that very iconic, very big, there's a very iconic Japan picture of a temple gate that is like very, very far back in the sea one. There are some temples that have this very big gate, right? They are actually so-called like openings of like to hell for the yokai to come out one. So you can take it like, as like our Chinese, the 7-month tradition where the ghost can come out from hell, that kind. It's like a gate. Like.
Okay. Yeah. Interesting. Can I ask also, so for the wife, when she said that she didn't have her makeup, right? That sort of example. Yeah. Are you trying to say that she was deformed because she was there in hell, or because that she didn't have covering, like she exposed how she really looks like? You get what I mean?
No,
she was in hell?
She was deformed because she was in hell lah. Means that her
she
bones,
deteriorated in hell lah.
Yeah, her meat were rotten, this kind of thing. Yeah.
Okay.
When we talk about Norse mythology and when we talk about hell, HEL, which is the governor of the whole realm of hell, right? Yeah, then you can slowly go Google. Actually, she's even more scary because she's half rotten and half beautiful one. That was my first story.
You say it links to the second story, right? Okay,
let's do the second part. Yeah.
Okay, go ahead. So, I think it's important to understand the context first.
Yeah, correct. So the second part, right, is that of course after all this fiasco, the Izanagi, the husband, very tired lah. So he went to this this river to cleanse his face, to wash his face.
Okay.
So when he washed his face, right, this part is I until today don't understand one, because he just washed his face, right. His left eye wash and then come out Amaterasu, which is the goddess of the sun. Then his right eye, he wash and come out Tsukiyomi, which is the god of the moon.
Okay.
And then for some reason, the water tickled him and then he sneezed. And then out came Susano, which is the god of the seas and destruction and thunderstorms.
Okay. So now these are the main three, is it?
Yeah, these were the main three of the next story that I'm going to talk about. Yeah. So,
sun, moon, and the sea and destruction. Okay.
Yes, correct. So if you don't know who they represent, go watch Naruto. Naruto, who's that? Sasuke's brother, Uchiha. The Uchiha clan, they got this ultimate move called Amaterasu and Tsukiyomi. Then like time comes to a standstill, whatever.
Yeah. The Amaterasu term I got here before. Definitely got here before, yeah. Okay.
So Amaterasu is like the main god in in Japanese mythology because she represents all the good, all the brightness, and like so-called all the that means like nobody hates her, lah, right? She's a very pleasant person, and then she's like the main god in Japanese mythology, lah. So she so-called married her brother Tsukiyomi. So the two of them were supposed to take the skies together one. But today, very funny, right? Now we know it's like sun take 12 hour, the moon take 12 hour.
Yes.
Yeah. So what happened? What happened was that very funny is that Amaterasu, being the very very nice person, she has to go to a lot of these what we call dinners or meals. Like let's say the god of whoever invite her, she cannot say she don't want. She has to go.
Like government.
She has to keep up. Yeah, you can say she keep up appearances like keeping up the Kardashians. So she did until she was a bit tired, lah. So there was this one day, this god of food invited her to a banquet. Then her husband Tsukiyomi, being the nice person, go tell her, say, hey, you tired? I go for you, lah, right? Don't need to go like all. She was very worried because she know what kinds of character the husband is. Because like sun and moon, whatever she is, the husband is not, ma.
Okay.
Yeah, not as patient, not as bright. So she warned her husband and say, hey, if you go, like you must promise me that you won't like upset this person or like, you know, make my position very difficult. The husband said, yeah, can you trust me? So the husband went in her stead to this banquet. How he know that this person, god of food, to serve the banquet, right? It's not cooked one. It's like the part of the body, right? Suddenly just got fish pop up, then like, or he can just take from his don't know what, take out some seafood, right? And just put on the plate and serve.
Okay.
I don't understand how that works. I don't understand how that works, but that was the story.
From his body.
Yeah, from his body, like whatever part, just take out. Yeah.
Yeah. I'll be like, please just don't give me the testicle. Anything.
Yeah.
Don't mind eat liver. Just don't give me the testicle. Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Banquet. Okay.
So the husband was very disgusted. And the next thing he did was he killed the god of food. Yeah.
Yep.
So he killed
1-star review.
Yeah. He killed, never mind, you know. Yeah, he still went back to like the skies, right? And went to his own wife and like, you know, confess and say, yeah, I killed this person because very disgusting.
Okay, interesting.
So the wife very angry, and then they divorced. They agreed that I will take the skies for 12 hours. The next 12 hours is yours.
Oh, interesting. Yeah. So it's trying to say it's like it's all because of a dinner.
Yeah. Like most couple quarrel, one quarrel over like the makeup, another quarrel over like food.
Oh, okay. Interesting. So in that case, they divorce immediately after only this event, then they just like
divorce.
Then were there any repercussions for the moon? The moon god?
No lah. The moon was a very, very small side character. So the next story, you can take this as story 2.1. The 2.2 is the main story because that will talk about the redemption because of the conflict between Susanoo and Amaterasu. Yeah. Okay, so 2.2, the sibling quarrel, how did it come about? Of course, Susanoo, you know, the manner that he came out from his father through the nose, right? Already suggested that he's a very, very rash person, like always up for trouble, this kind of thing. And then, according to some sources, or macam I like reporter, according to some sources, he cried a lot because he missed his mother. His mother is in hell, ma. The father angry lah, like say you every time kaobu, then you make the seas like so unsafe for all the fishermen. So he banished him to hell lah. The funny thing was that before he banished to hell, right, he decided to visit his sister in her quarters in heaven lah. Okay. As sort of, you can say is I don't know, to snigger at her or as like sort of bite goodbye before he goes. Okay, but him being the very rash person, right, he challenged his sister to a competition. Okay, so the two of them decided to compete like who can create the most amount of deities from whatever they take from each other lah. Okay. So the sister took his sword. So his sword, right, he broke into 3 pieces, then he created 3 deities. Then he took a bracelet or a necklace from his sister, right? And created 6 deities.
Okay.
Okay. So his argument is that I won because I created 6. My sister created 3.
I created more.
Yeah. The sister argument is I won because you took my stuff and created 6. I took your stuff and created 3. So by right, your stuff is less superior than mine.
Yeah. Okay, that's true also. Yeah, that's true.
That's true also, correct. But after that, he of course angry lah. He said, "Wow, I win already. You don't recognize me." Then cannot. Then he started going on rampage. Then he start destroying her place. Then take some big cow, big bull, and just throw at her gate. This kind of thing. Then successfully killed one of the 3 deities that she created.
Mm-hmm.
She was so angry, right? She just decided to hide in a mountain hole and don't come out.
Okay.
So of course the whole world is plunged into darkness. People cannot. No sunlight means cannot farm and everything lah.
Yeah.
So all the gods have emergency meeting. They come together. Then they say, how can we coax her out so that things will become better, normal again?
Okay. So
they did it in a very funny way, which I think is very reminiscent of like how we coax little children. Like when little children don't want to eat food, right? Then you have to like, you see, I feed daddy. So exciting. Yeah. You have to, show them there's excitement going on here. Yes. Or like this thing is actually nice before they'll eat. So they did exactly the same thing, right? They have a very big party outside the mountain hole, right? And say that, wow, everybody singing, everybody clapping. Then like, she come out like, what's so interesting there? Why everybody celebrating?
Hey, what's that nice song?
Yeah, correct.
I like this song.
Then they still very smart. They still say like, this would have been more fun if the most beautiful person is here. Then she like, who's the most beautiful person? This kind of thing. Then they presented to her a mirror. Like, she said, it's me lah. I'm missing from the party. Then she happy. Then she come out. Then everything was okay once again.
Okay.
Yeah. But Susano, for all his troubles that he created, right? He was banished to the earth to live his life with people.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because they decided that he didn't know the hardships of human. He was too willful, so they wanted for him to learn from humans.
Okay.
Yeah. So the funny thing is that when he went to Earth, right, he met this couple. So this couple they had to offer their own daughter to this snake that has 8 tails. Because this was like an offering they have to make every year, so that the snake will not eat the village. They will just...
so they have to have a daughter every year?
Yeah. So they sacrificed 7 daughters already.
Oh, okay.
This was the last daughter that they had. So they told Susano, say, if you can find a way to kill this snake, right, our daughter will marry you. Yeah. So Susano decided to do this in the sense that it was a bit similar to the Egyptian mythology thing where he took 8 vases of wine. He tricked the snake into drinking the wine. And then the snake just like marbled go drunk, and then he killed the snake when he was drunk
Okay.
So after that, he cut open the snake, right? There was this very, very important sword that came out.
Okay.
He presented the sword to his sister Amaterasu and said, "I'm sorry for all the foolish thing I ever did." So this sword became part of the 3 items that the Amaterasu will soon give to her own grandson to quell all the unrest in Earth, and which subsequently will become the 3 items that are so-called the 3 royal items for the Japanese royalty . Okay. In terms of the emperor. Susano himself, he married the girl and then became so-called the person that blessed the area that he stayed .
Okay.
So even today, right, you can Google Susano Shrine, right? There are a few shrines in a certain part of Japan that so-called pay tribute to Susano .
Okay, then as you're saying, right, Susano, this god specifically, right, he's known for controlling the weather and the rampage and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So just to touch back on it in like the real world now, right? Like for instance, when they have tsunamis and stuff like that, do they say that it's because of Susano?
No leh.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because Susano was deemed to be turned into a good person already .
Oh, okay. Yeah. So maybe it was like prior to that, he was causing a lot of things on Earth.
Yeah.
But then after that, he changed . Okay.
Yeah.
So this Susano admitted he was wrong.
Yeah.
But the husband didn't admit he was wrong. Correct?
Good point. Good point. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just happy wife, happy life. It's the easiest lesson in the world, brothers.
Yeah. When it comes to a certain time, we just have to share the space, share the space.
Yeah, just
half
share
of
the
yours
space.
is mine, half of yours is yours.
Yeah, and don't kill the buffet guy. You don't like the food, just give a review. You need to kill them.
Poor guy.
Yeah, really poor guys. Yeah. And then your last story.
Oh, my last story. The story about the kitsune in the nine-tailed fox. Okay. One thing I want to point out is that only in Roman numerals and in Chinese counting, right? Do you realize that we have 1 to 10? Whereas for like the Arabic numbers now that we know, there's only 0 to 9. 10 is effectively 1 plus 0.
Yes, correct.
Correct? Yeah. So the reason why nine-tailed fox is nine-tailed fox is because in the Chinese numbering, right, 10 is the highest number. Correct. So nine-tailed fox is actually one level less before she can attain godhood or deityhood.
Okay.
In Shan Hai Jing or in certain Chinese writings, the nine-tailed fox was actually sent down to Earth, right, on a mission. Okay, because the creator of the Chinese universe, Nuwa, which is we can talk about that another day. She decided that an emperor didn't pay respect to her statue when he visited, so she actually sent her down to so-called punish this emperor by bewitching him lah. So some sources actually say that depending on like because there were a few emperors in a few dynasties that were very that were not very good emperors lah. She claimed to be Daji, girl that bewitched the Shang dynasty's last ruler, King Zhou, and which led to the downfall of the Shang dynasty. Whatever she did, it didn't seem enough for her to be recalled back to heaven and then gain level 9 to level 10 and then became deityhood.
Okay, stop here. Stop here, right? So her origins is she's from Chinese.
Yes.
Okay,
correct.
Okay, can.
Yeah. So I will slowly touch on to how she went to Japan. Some of the legend actually said that there was another person called Jiang Ziya. You can consider him some people call him a strategist in the Zhou dynasty lah, right? Okay. But some consider him half god, half human person sent down by the Nuwa to so-called kill this nine-tailed fox.
Okay.
So she found a way to so-called protect herself by coming to this agreement with this person called Abe no Nakamaru.
Okay.
Okay. So this person, Abe no Nakamaru, is an official from Japan that is staying in the then Tang dynasty and Song dynasty to learn from them, to take back to Japan to so-called help them build their dynasties lah.
Okay.
Yeah. So why is it so important is that he promised to keep this nine-tailed fox safe. In exchange, right, the nine-tailed fox will actually so-called bless his family by number 1 providing protection because she got divine powers.
Okay.
Number 2, she will teach some of this her abilities to so-called do magic or do whatever magical things that she can do lah. And true enough, Abe no Nakamaru, his grandson, became one of the most famous onmyeonjin, or what the Chinese call yin yang shi lah, called Abe no Seimei.
Is it a mythical legend or?
Yes.
Okay.
Also, this Abe no Seimei is very, very famous because in legends he was one of the strongest yin yang shi of his times. Like he could one person fight against a lot of yokai, and I think yokai even treated him with respect.
Okay.
And it was even rumored that the prime minister that was assassinated, Shinzo Abe, is actually his descendant.
Oh, okay. Because same.
Of course, Shinzo Abe has came out before he died. He has came out and denied lah. But what's important is that the agreement between his ancestor Abe no, call Mr. Abe lah, Mr. Abe and the nine-tailed fox, right? This agreement actually broke after 300 years because the nine-tailed fox followed him back to Japan to build his family and his dynasty, right? But as the time passed, the nine-tailed fox stayed alive. The ancestor died, and then 300 plus years later, the people just decided that this is not what we want to do. They decided to turn to, I don't know, Buddhism or whatever. This nine-tailed fox also started, for whatever reason, started doing evil things like turning into another concubine and bewitching emperors lah, leading to this Abe family, right, taking power and so-called going to war against this kitsune to kill it. They successfully, after waging a lot of wars, right, they successfully managed to seal this kitsune into a stone.
Okay.
But this stone, but the how to say, the 怨气 or the negative energy in the kitsune is so much that one stone is not enough to keep all the negative energy inside. So they had to break the stone into a few different pieces, right? Send it to all the different temples in different corners of Japan, right? Then each temple so-called got one piece of the stone. So the funny thing is that one of the main stones that was supposed to harbor this evil spirit nine-tailed fox was in this Nikko National Park. Last year, the stone cracked into two.
Oh my goodness.
So I have no idea what that means.
Okay.
But a lot of people say that it means disaster is coming soon.
Oh.
Because the kitsune is released.
Yeah. Okay, but only one of the stones lah.
Yeah, but it was believed to be the main stone that held most of the negative spirit lah.
Oh shit. That's why they're releasing the water in.
Yeah, so that is my story for the kitsune, the nine-tailed fox.
Oh, okay. So now it links to current times, that even it can like go on for so many years.
Yeah.
Still stay relevant.
Right, and actually, if you think about the mission she was given, she actually completed it quite well. So I don't quite understand like why she wasn't recalled or given a chance to become a god or a deity lah. So I mean, of course, what she did was wrong, but I sort of understand why she did that, because it's like you work so hard for so many years, you promise to, get to level 10, and then nobody gave you what you promised lah. Yeah.
So if she breaks, right, technically, is she angry at both, like Japanese and Chinese? You know what I mean?
Could be. I'm not sure.
And then it's famously known that she crossed over to Japanese to help them lah.
Okay, so this is the interesting part. She appeared in both writings in the Chinese mythology, which is Shan Hai Jing, and the Japanese mythology.
Okay.
But the one that made the connection between how she went from China to Japan, right, was actually this YouTuber that I say is the 自说自话的总裁啦.
Okay.
Where he made the connection that because of how close he was with the Mr. Abe, they made a pact to so-called you protect you teach me stuff, I protect you. Then they went to Japan together. That's how the nine-tailed fox migrated from China to Japan.
I'm sure there are a lot of like stories and tales about like her adventures and stuff like that lah.
I'm not sure whether there was story about her adventures, because in Chinese mythology, a lot of if you watch 封神演义, right, she was deemed as the main cause behind like this whole reason why the dynasty just fell, because she just made the emperor bewitch the emperor until he just didn't didn't even care about what's going on in the country, then really go out of his way just to please her, this kind of thing.
I think I would like to know more specifically about this Chinese mythology now that you say lah.
Okay, Chinese mythology is very weird in the sense that mythology is about some of the creatures like Shan Hai Jing. That is very obvious, is mythologies. But the Shang dynasty and the Zhou dynasty, right? This is the part where I'm still a bit confused about which part is actually history and which part is actually mythology.
Okay, it's an ambiguous line. You know what I mean?
Yes, correct. So one of the very famous stories about 大禹治水. 大禹 is the first emperor of the Xia dynasty. He became emperor because he found a way to so-called stop the flooding lah. Mm-hmm. And then he had a very famous story where he passed his own house 3 times. He never even stepped home. He passed his own house because he said, I won't step home until I find a solution to stop the dam. Stop the flood lah. Yeah. Then so that part, right, whether he's a human or whether he's a person sent from the heavens to so-called help them to treat the water, it's still a very big question mark. I believe that this kind of people might have existed, but how much of the story is actually exists, I think it's a big question mark. I mean, I can go research I can do
we can try try if you want, but it's okay because also the next episode we're going to be doing is another mythology also that I think is more
Norse.
Famous. Yeah, Norse. Yeah, more Norse. But I think overall for this episode, Japanese mythology, right, very interesting, especially to go and get to see how the origins, how the 3 main gods, And in the end, right, the big point is just happy wife, happy life. Like, legit. It works, brother. It's a proven thing from Japanese mythology.
Yeah.
Yeah. Big
Okay,
thing.
I think before I conclude, right, I recently watched a video that I found it very, very interesting because one of the earliest form of civilization, right, recently has been traced to Japan.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So even Pokemon, right? If you look at Pokemon, you look at this Pokemon called Beltoy and the evolutions, right? Actually, the design of this Pokemon called Beltoy, right, is based on the artifacts that was found in Japan. That is based on carbon dating. One of the earliest form of artifacts found in the world.
More you know about Japan. I guess that you're going there in January, you'll be like going to all these shrines, you're gonna have a look and stuff like that.
Yes, but
will you go to
I'm not versed in Japanese. I just hope that there's some, I don't know, what they call tablets, or I don't know, what's it called, 说明书, or like you go zoo, you'll see that thing that explain this animal, what the characteristics.
Informational tablets that they have.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah. Maybe it might be in Japanese, then you just use the Google Translate.
Then I don't mind.
Alright, so that was our Japanese mythology episode. Hopefully when you go to Japan, if you go and see the shrine yourself, you can let us know. Then when you call back on KopiBros, you can give us an update on how it looks like and stuff like that. Like how's your experience there and stuff like that. Okay. Interesting. Overall, that was our Japanese mythology episode. Hi!
Get out of here.
Oh, look at the time. The coffee shop is closing. But in the meantime, if you enjoyed the episode, please remember to give it a like, a thumbs up, and subscribe. We have episodes that drops every Monday. But at the same time, also, if you're into football, we have the Football Kaki that drops every Wednesday. And also, if you're into fun game show formats, we have the SG Draft podcast that drops every Friday. Also, if you're into like fun tournament daily polls that you get to do, we have an Instagram tournament that goes off every Monday to Thursday in relation to our KopiBros episode. It'll be KopiBros team and Japanese team. I think what we're going to do is like probably like the best Japanese dish or like, like noodle dish or like something like that. So if you're interested to go and vote for this type of tournament, right, head over to our Instagram page and go and vote. Voting is every day at 12 p.m. and then after the results come out next day. So it's like a concurrent thing. Okay. In the meantime, also, we hope you enjoyed the episode. But remember, a kopi a day keeps your troubles away.
Happy wife, happy life.
Hi! It's true, brother. It's true. I'm telling you.